This is a special edition of We Believe with me and my mom. I today will be your host, Kadir Lumumba Benjamin, and today I will be interviewing my mother, Rukia Lumumba, candidate for state representative. First of all, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing so much better because you're interviewing me. I'm pretty excited about this interview.
Yeah. So, as you know, we're getting started with the questions. I am 16 years old, and all my life I've witnessed you organizing in community for people's rights, and I would like to ask why.
Good question. Why is such a broad question, but it's a good one. And there's so many reasons why, but the core of it is that I believe that people deserve to live a good quality of life. Because I have a deep love. I've always had an innate love for people and wanting us all to live well, to be happy, to be healthy, to have the things that we need, and also the things that provide us with some joy and relaxation and relieve stress. I want to make sure that we're able to truly live comfortable, good lives. Everyone, regardless of class, regardless of race, regardless of whether you're living with a disability or fully able to move throughout this world with all your limbs. Whether you are struggling with mental health needs, or whether you are struggling to overcome an addiction. I believe that we all deserve support and ability to overcome the struggles. And that in order to do that, we have to have people in place that are willing to do the work, to get us the policies and the resources to take care of each other, to create healthier people and, in turn, healthier communities. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, wow, that's a really good answer. And, gotta ask this, why are you running for state representative?
Yeah, I'm running for state representative because I truly believe that it's time that we have leadership in office that is humble enough to take direction from community members, from the residents that live and work here and love this place that we call home. And so I think that in order to see that happen, that sometimes you have to step up and be that change. And I'm that change. I've been working for most of my career, as you know, because you've been pretty much with me since you were in my belly, even and outside and when you were born, you've been with me by my side. And I have been working to really develop opportunities for community members to be a part of making big and small decisions as it relates to our policy, as it relates to budgets that impact us. That includes, city budgets as well as state budgets and budgets around programming and things that we want to see improved in our communities. I've been engaged in engaging community members in policy development. Recently, I led the largest and most prominent acts against legislation this year that attempted to, harm our democracy, take away our rights to officially participate in the voting process, but also take away our rights to elect the judges that we believe are suitable for our judicial bench. Also, it was laws that attempted to take away our ballot initiative and laws that attempted to take away our right to determine what our public safety looks like in our cities. And so I led a coalition called Jackson Undivided, which brought organizations across this city and across the state together to really collectively fight against those bills. It also brought community members together and provided education and opportunity for people to learn a little bit more. And so that coalition was called Jackson Undivided. But that's just a little bit of the work that I've done. If people look, for example, at the work that I did around Parchment, you remember some of the work I did around Parchment Penitentiary and trying to ensure that people in prisons receive humane treatment and humane conditions, living conditions. And so people can really watch and learn more about that work and the legislative and policy platforms and agendas that I worked with various legislators around to create bipartisan legislation that was really about expanding parole and ensuring that people who are aging in prison, seniors who have less than a 3% chance of recidivism of going back into prison, that we had laws that allowed them to seek parole and to get out. It also was legislation bipartisan, passed with bipartisan approval, legislation that was about ensuring that our prisons were more humane, that they treated people well. And so a lot of our efforts can be seen on what's called Exposing Parchment, which is a documentary with Jay-Z and a number of other Mississippi legislators. And I'm also featured in there along with a number of my team members from the People's Advocacy Institute, because we were really leading that fight for humane conditions along with the Mississippi Prison Reform Coalition, which we formed. And so folks can watch that on A&E. I know that I've forced you to watch a little of it at times. Yeah. So, but tell me, how are you feeling about me running? Like, what do you think about me running?
I feel you would be a really good candidate. As you said, multiple times, or as I said, what I just said, you've organized in the community for people's rights. I mean, you're fighting for the people. You'll listen to the people, and I've been with you the whole time and seeing it happen. So I feel like you would be fit for it to happen.
Thank you. For everybody out there watching and listening, I'm just so lucky to have this child as my son. When I was deciding whether to run, if you remember, I asked you, I said, well, should I run? And you said, why not? Yeah, you said, why not? And you said, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said, you've done this for so many other people, why wouldn't you do it for yourself? And yeah, that was all I needed to hear to get your approval, Yeah.
Yeah. How about young people? How do you I'm trying to find a way to form this question. Can you just talk about young people, like, in your business and stuff?
Yeah. I get what you, just period. What about young people? And sometimes it's just okay to ask that question, like, what about young people? Like, even if it's not a full thought out, like, detailed question or specifically about a particular part of young people's existence, like, what about young people, And so thank you for asking that, raising that. Young people are important to me, right? I think you know that. Y'all are some of my favorite people. I get the most joy when being around young people. And for me, when we're talking about policy and we're talking about people's voice, oftentimes young people's voices are left out of the conversation. They're not even included in policy decisions. Like, how often have you seen a legislator come to you and say, hey, Kadir, or hey, come to your class, or create a youth forum where they're asking you, well, what do you think about, healthcare? Or what do you think about youth programs? Like, how many times do people come to you?
None.
And I want to see that changed. I have a theory that it doesn't matter if you can vote. It matters if you live in the place and you care about the place. So through my work with the Jackson People's Assembly, which you have attended so many of our assemblies, everyone in the room has a voice, whether they're young, regardless of age, regardless of their criminal history, regardless of their ability. So regardless of if they're living with a disability, regardless of if they're an elected official or if they're a resident, somebody who's just living here and working here. Everybody has a voice as long as they care about the place and that they are looking to improve the quality of life for everyone that's involved. And young people are critical to that. They are most important in being a part of these decisions for a number of reasons. One, because we're building a future that our young people are going to control, are going to have to live in. The other reason is that oftentimes young people can see what we can't see. Their vision, your creativity, your mind thinks about things a little differently. And sometimes in our older age, we forget how to be creative. We forget to have that big vision. I always tell people we need to dream like Harriet. We need to dream like Harriet Tubman and envision a time period, a day in our lives that we haven't seen yet. A time period like Nelson Mandela says, everything at one point in time was impossible until it was possible, until it became. And so young people dream big. They dream for the stars beyond what they can see. And so as an adult, we need to listen, because that is what we can work towards. And so I believe in engaging young people in the process of making big and small decisions, in the process of making laws that will impact their lives. So whether that's laws about youth programs or laws about jobs and employment opportunities or entrepreneurial opportunities for young people, I believe that is key. It's key to our economy, but it's key to our culture and our way of life and the ability for our communities to thrive. I know I talk a lot. I do. I know. Sorry.
And, Uncle Antar and Grandbaba, Grandbaba was the mayor, Uncle Antar is the mayor. Mm-hmm. People are going to lump you in with that. Mm-hmm. Say something like your own person. Say something about that.
Yeah. Thanks for raising that. Such a good question. Because people do lump me in. People lump me in with both my brother, Shokwe Antar, who's the current mayor, like you said, and my father, who you call Grandbaba. And y'all's birthdays are so close. My father, Shokwe Lumumba. And, there are a couple of reasons you can lump us together. One, we're all passionate about people. We're passionate about creating better quality of lives. But we all have a different process to get there. We all do things a little differently. And so, yes, Uncle Antar is my brother. But just like with your god brothers and sisters, we don't always get along about everything, right? And we do things differently, right? And so just like with any sibling relationship, we'll agree on some things and we'll disagree on others. We don't agree all the time. And we have our own styles and our own way of getting work done. But I think at the core, we are both concerned, as our father and my mother, Nubia Lumumba, taught us, to really be concerned with more than just our personal gain, but the gain of all of our community. Because if we're the only people gaining, then we're failing. We're failing at success. So.
And, I've asked you about young people, mm-hmm. So how about we talk about the elders now?
Yeah. The elders. Am I considered an elder to you?
No.
Okay, good. Whew. I was a little worried there. I feel like I got a little more time before I become an elder.
Yeah.
Elders, or what some folks may call seniors, those that have pretty much paved the way for us to be here right now, who have worked and toiled and been the creative thinkers for so long, who are now in their retirement or now just in their second journey of life. They're important. They're important because they've been through it before. I think youth is what we're moving towards, or can give us the vision for the future. Eldership provides us the wisdom to move through the process to get to the future. And so we need both. And so we got to make sure that we're taking care of both of those populations. And so right now in Mississippi and in District 72, where I'm running for state representative, we have to be intentional about what elder care, support looks like. And that should look more and more like, yes, absolutely, mental health and resources for people to be cared for when they can no longer care for themselves. But it should also look like those things in life that make life just a little easier. We need more walking trails. We need more places for our elders to go and mix and mingle safely. We need an opportunity and we need an increase in elder support in terms of financial support that comes from our state and our federal government. So, I mean, that's some of what I feel. I know time is running out, so.
Well, yeah, we have 15 seconds left. Vote for Rukia Lumumba. We got people out there every day, you know, knocking on doors, handing out flyers. So, yeah, and, you know, we wanted to end it off with
Yes. Good morning, Facebook family and friends and everybody in between. I am Rukia Lumumba, and I am truly honored by your support. On August 8th, you showed up and your voice was loud and clear at the polls through your vote. You voted to protect our democracy by voting for me, for better health care, for better jobs, for better pay, for increased economic development, and a fully funded education system, and public safety that is community-based and holistic. You voted to improve conditions not just for yourself, but for your families, for your friends, for future generations, and for your city and for your state. Together, I believe that we can create the better Mississippi that we all deserve. But to ensure that victory, I need you to come back out to the polls on August 29th. Yes, I need you to come back out to the polls on August 29th. And I need you to vote for me, Rukia Lumumba, for state representative for Mississippi House District 72. Together, we can truly tread a new course, one that is people-centered, one that truly brings information back to our communities, choice, work, a government that engages you in the process of making those big and small decisions. I want to be that representative for you. I want to walk into that state house and not just make decisions on my own. I want to make decisions with you. I want to be able to go back to you every chance that I get, share the information that I'm learning in the State House with you, and then hear from you how I should vote. Every decision I make in that State House should come from you, the people. And that's what I want to do. That's the work I've been doing, as I have been at the State House for years, advocating on behalf of the residents of District 72. And so I ask for your vote again. Come out to the polls. Come out to the polls. Come out to the polls on August 29th. I have the experience. Vote again in this runoff election. Let me represent you. Let us chart a new course of true representation, bringing democracy back to the people, bringing politics back to the people, bringing big and small decisions back to the people. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm committed to. And that's what I know you will hold me accountable to. August 29th, y'all, come back out. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your vote. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. Together, we will continue to win. Have a great day.